When people think of the ocean, they almost always consider that the greatest danger they can encounter in its waters is a shipwreck, a storm, or a tempest that sinks them into the ocean depths. However, most of the time they ignore that there are more terrifying things they should watch out for. Things that can mark a before and after in their lives. Things that are definitely as big and deadly as the ocean itself. Do you think this is an exaggeration? Maybe your bravery will disappear if you listen to some of these disturbing stories. Though, if you don't feel confident enough to deal with them, you'd better leave now. Ready? Then it's time to get started. Number 5. Unexpected creatures. Social media is full of all kinds of audiovisual material that records disturbing events. A large part of this content usually belongs to some kind of hoax or montage, but some pieces deserve our attention, our full attention. Such is the case of a recent video spread on social networks that shows a strange discovery in an oil area of Mexico. In the images, the deep drilling oil platform is clearly distinguishable, a piece of labor-intensive machinery that usually generates slight contamination around it in the form of a ring. The workers are completing a normal process in the area when suddenly they notice strange activity in the sea. The water seems different. Some of them spot a shadow moving under the platform, and then the unexpected appears. Who could imagine that a beast would be lurking around these workers? Probably no one, and by the time the cameras manage to capture it, few can even move. The beast offers a grotesque, undulating, and moldable form that allows it to constantly change shape. The creature prowls around the workers aggressively, and while doing so, it deforms its body and shapeshifts into something completely different. In the face of this fact, social networks have failed to come to a real conclusion. Some speculate that this unknown creature comes from the depths, from those areas where human beings have not been able to reach. Others believe that this is an altered video, a simple optical trick, while researchers haven't been able to point out if the video is false. On the contrary, specialists believe it could be a very particular species of jellyfish that hasn't been recorded yet. Number 4. The Big Blue Hole. There are spaces in the ocean that would be better not to visit. This is what the great divers of our time say, especially those who have dedicated their lives to knowing the secrets of the sea until they finish their careers in the Great Blue Hole. The name by itself already generates a sense of intimidating grandeur. It is located off the coast of Belize, and those who dare to approach it rarely wish to return to the sea. This natural sinkhole is the largest in the world. Its fame was born in 1971 thanks to Jacques Cousteau, one of the first brave men to enter its depths and live to tell the story of his extraordinary discovery. This huge sinkhole has some 300 meters in diameter that will take the breath away from any brave man. It looks like a cauldron of blue fire from above, but if you try to look down, you only come across its 125 meters of deep and abysmal navy blue darkness. Nothing penetrates its waters, not even light, and inside there are a series of limestone nests and caves that are the legacy of the last ice age. As you can imagine, there is a large tourist flow around the Big Blue Hole, but most of its visitors are guided and are limited to enter only the first 20 meters of the marsh. No one dares to go further down, especially after the multiple accidents and traumas that have occurred to those who have dared to visit one of the largest points in the ocean. Number 3. Zimchang Canyon. Another of the most emblematic, unexplored, and terrifying places in the ocean is located in the Bering Sea, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Its name is the Zimchang Canyon, and the only way to fully appreciate the magnitude of its size and depth is through a satellite view from space. This underwater canyon knows no limitations and offers an abysmal panorama capable of engulfing entire countries and submerging them in its interior. Few places in the world compare to it, and this is due, of course, to its dimensions. Its volume offers a powerful current of 5,800 cubic kilometers and a depth so dizzying that it exceeds 2,600 meters. Considering its size, this area of the Pacific Ocean could swallow the Grand Canyon of the United States without any difficulty. In fact, it would still have room left over for other victims. It's for this reason that far from being an area for divers, it has become an exclusive area for submarines in the last decades. Only a team with good technology can dare to dive in its deep waters, although there is no guarantee that they will resurface. The Zimchang Canyon hides multiple mysteries, and even for submarines, it's still a real headache to dive into its currents, explore its caves, or even to try to reach its maximum depth. Number 2. The Underwater River. Since Roman times, today's Europe and Old Asia have shared a common place of multiple conflicts. This is the Black Sea, one of the most interesting spots in the known ocean. It's believed to hold the clues to explain the biblical flood that Noah's Ark had to deal with, and a host of interesting mythological facts. However, an extraordinary event continues to occur in this sea, something that's often not given as much press around the world. It's a secret ecosystem, a subway paradise that nobody knows about, as it's located at the bottom of the Black Sea. In principle, this ecosystem not only has trees and waterfalls, but also a river that runs through them and feeds them in equal parts. But how is it possible for such an environment to be under the sea? Is the existence of a river inside an ocean possible? It may seem confusing, but in reality, this happens because the water of the river is much saltier and therefore denser than the surrounding water of the Black Sea. The contrast between the two elements generates a very particular reaction that has allowed the growth of a unique ecosystem on the planet. The underwater river of the Black Sea flows at a rapid pace, creating streams and feeding all the surrounding elements it encounters. As if this were not enough, due to the sheer volume of this river, it could be considered the 6th largest on Earth. But due to its peculiarities, it isn't taken into consideration in books or research works. Even so, this strange river offers so many undiscovered mysteries, and that's why research continues to be carried out in its areas every year. We still know very little about this ecosystem, but it seems that this is about to change. Number 1. Dogerland. We all know the legend of the mythical city of Atlantis. But although it may surprise you, this isn't the only legendary city that could have been devoured by the sea. Without going any further, Egypt, Cyprus, and countless other countries in the Mediterranean and Asia have a large number of port civilizations that were swallowed by the gods of the ocean. However, out of all these stories, there's one that has gone unnoticed over time. It's Dogerland, a huge landmass that was submerged in the ocean 8,500 years ago in the UK North Sea. At first, this doesn't say much, but what would you think if you found out that this piece of land was once occupied by mammoths and one of the first human civilizations of the Mesolithic era? Of course, everything starts to change. This lost city was once the true heart of Europe. Due to its particular size and for being the center of civilization in the Mesolithic era. And it could be hidden somewhere in the ocean, waiting to be rescued along with archaeological relics of the past. It is believed that about 10,000 men and women came to inhabit this place, although unfortunately their lives ended quickly when the ocean devoured their territory. Ground Zero, the largest creature. During the last 20 years, there's been a lot of talk about the deep sea. Specialists, conspirators, researchers, and ordinary citizens share a strange hope that there are undiscovered creatures and species in the dark depths of the sea. However, this hope quickly turns to terror when it's understood that these creatures could be dangerous. Precisely because of this, when people are asked about what they consider to be the largest creature lurking in the depths of the ocean, no one is able to answer with a name, but everyone agrees that sea monsters exist. However, although it may seem like a difficult question to answer, there is a real and true response, and that is the giant squid. According to numerous researches, giant squids reach incredible sizes when being in the right ecosystem, and the deep sea is exactly what they need to become huge creatures. Without going any further, several of the investigations carried out in the depths have demonstrated the presence of these strange creatures that far exceed any idea we have about them. They don't exceed the size of any blue whale, but this could change in the following years, especially if we consider that the largest specimens can be found in the depths of the ocean. Do you think that someday we will get to know this creature or the rest of the sea monsters? Will the day come when we will be able to know all the secrets of the ocean? For now, we can only wait for technology to continue to develop to achieve this. But one thing is for sure, we'll end up meeting face to face with the worst nightmares of the sea sooner or later. Let's hope that we'll be ready for it when this happens. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video and still want to continue learning about the mysteries of the ocean, then it's time for you to follow us and check out these videos to discover some of these interesting stories.